How was this racetrack playing on opening day?
Well, it's playing kind of fair, you know. I mean, a couple races on the lead, couple races from behind, so I think it's pretty fair, you know.
How does that do for you in the upcoming Derby trial with Hall? What do you think is the ideal situation for you and Hall?
Well, that race is a really tough race, but we have a really good horse. Dale Romans and we talked about it earlier, and I think there is going to be a lot of speed. My horse has speed. He can lay close. He can be second, third on the lead, wherever he's comfortable. So we see what happens.
Well, congratulations on this win. Best of luck in the Grade 3 Derby trial.
Thank you.
Miguel Mena with Hall coming up next. Lafitte, look for a tactical ride.
The Heilbronn colt thumbs up, says Miggy Mena, right back to the room and perhaps right back to the winner's circle following the upcoming event. Again, he rides Hull, who is 3-1 on the morning line for trainer Dale Romans. That is coming up next, the opening day classic here at Churchill Downs, the Grade 3 Derby Trial Stakes.
HRTV's Feature Race of the Week is presented by Lane's End, where performance counts.
And it is a good one, Jeff. You've been talking about this event for about a week now. Silver City 5-2, Santana 6, the yearly favorite, 2-1. Field of 8, 3-year-olds going 7.5 furlongs. It is the Lane's End featured race of the week.
Good race for sure. Silver City was so impressive sprinting. He won the Dixieland earlier this year. They tried to make him maybe a Derby horse out of him, ran him long in the Southwest and the Rebel. They couldn't stay the trip. He's back sprinting. Silver City looks like the one to beat, but there's lots of talent in the Derby trial.
Back outside live to Churchill Downs. Lafitte Pincay, Jeff Siegel to take you through the Lane's End Derby Trial Stakes.
Thanks so much, Millie. And one of the most recognizable pieces of architecture in all of sports, the Twin Spires. Well, there is one spire here at Churchill Downs, much like the Green Monster at Fenway Park. And here it is an opening day tradition. The Derby Trial Stakes, graded 3 this year, 7.5 furlongs. We are 6 minutes to post and a post parade. Starting off with Clarence Scarborough's Silver City of Alysheba fame.
Colt by Unbridled Song, very fast sprinter from the inside. He pretty much has to go from gate to wire.
Tim por Tim at 14-1.
Broken Vow Colt, 7-length maiden winner. Bill Mott really likes him. This is a tough task, but he figures to be running on strongly late.
Gotta go win for Jeff Mullins. He was supposed to run a couple weeks ago in New York.
He was scratched in that famous receiving barn incident that Jeff Mullins got a week's suspension for, which will start the day after the Derby.
Checklist for Todd Pletcher and Starlight.
Looked good winning a first level on the slop at Gulfstream in his last outing. He's won 2 out of 3. Obviously, this is a tougher spot.
Santana 6, who stands at Lane's End, is the 10th Lane's End sales graduate to win his stakes in 2009, including Derby hopeful, Quality Road, and Grade 1 winner Mr. Sydney. Another Derby-bound Lane's End grad is Dunkirk. Then you have Rendezvous at a big price, and Hull for Heilbronn, Dale Romans, and Miggy Mena looking to go back-to-back.
Undefeated in 2 starts is Hull, and we round things out with Kensai. This is a very good colt by Mr. Greeley, who's won 2 out of 3, including a first-level allowance win at Oaklawn in his last outing.
Kensai for Stone Street and trainer Steve Asmussen.
And we're looking at Kensai, and of course, the horse that I was talking about earlier on, Lafitte, was Hull. I mean, 2 for 2. Broke his maiden and came back and won a first level at Turfway. Beat absolutely nothing at Turfway, but if you saw the race, you'd have to love this colt. What a talented colt by Holy Bull. And he is getting tested today, but he is good.
He is 2-1. Silver City 3-1. His trainer Brett Calhoun standing by in the paddock with Carolyn Connolly. Carolyn.
Silver City going postward in very familiar silks for today's Derby trial. Those of Alysheba from the 87 Kentucky Derby and owner Clarence Scarborough. I'm with trainer Brett Calhoun. Brett, what does it mean to you to have Clarence Scarborough's silks here at Churchill Downs on opening day?
Oh, it's pretty special. You know, obviously when we went to the sale to buy these yearlings, our intent was to get him back to the Kentucky Derby, but this is as close as we could get, and very happy to be back here with the horse from Mr. Scarborough at Churchill Downs.
Now, Silver City, you did say he was originally a Derby horse. At what point did you say perhaps shorter distances are better?
When we first started turning him 2 turns, you know, we were still optimistic after our first 2-turn race. it was still a learning curve for him to get him to relax and slow down. And really, after his second race, we just kind of decided to abandon that. We couldn't get him to slow down and relax enough early on, so we decided to cut him back a little bit. Maybe down the line somewhere he'll learn to relax a little better.
And how's he coming into the race today?
Coming into the race super. We gave him a couple easy breezes after his last race, and then we kind of turned it up on him a little bit, and everything's gone very well.
Well, it's good to see a rekindled interest in thoroughbred racing from Mr. Scarborough. Best of luck today with Silver City.
Thank you.
That's Brett Calhoun. And guys, Tim Tim for Tim Tim. Turns out Bill Mott says that Aras Santa Maria de Aras are Argentine and Brazilian. Their daughter speaks French and lives in Florida, and that's as close to a meaning for the name as we could get.
Trained by Steve Asmussen.
Thanks so much, Carolyn. Tim Tim por Tim Tim at 16-1. Silver City at 3-1. It was 22 years ago that Clarence Scarborough's Ali Sheba nearly stumbled at the top of the stretch with Bet Twice before drawing off and providing Chris McCarron with his first Kentucky Derby. Stay tuned. The Derby Trial Stakes is next. Welcome, everyone, back to Churchill Downs. Opening day coverage continuing here on Horse Racing Television with the Lanes End featured race of the week. It is the Grade 3 Derby Trial Stakes, 7.5 furlongs, 3-year-olds on the main track, a field of 8. Very competitive, Jeff, with Santana 6 now, the 2-1 favorite for Nick Zito.
Very impressive colt by Hold That Tiger. He's shortening up from a mile to 7.5, having won a one-turn mile at Gulfstream in his last start with a 95 Beyer number. He can take heat and he can come away, so if he gets into a kind of a speed duel with Silver City, Santana 6 is not the one to back away from a fight. Very interesting race here. A lot of horses in this race who really want the front end, or at least like to battle it out. And then you've got a horse who I think will be coming from off the pace, Tin Tim for Tintin. And then Rendezvous for sure will be coming from way back. So, but going 7.5 with that long run before they hit that far turn, it's kind of a tactical race. Guys trying to find their position. I think, though, with Silver City on the rail, he's got to go.
Selection time. Who takes down the Derby Trial Stakes today?
Silver City, I think, is the best colt, but that's a tough task. How about the big long shot, Tin Tim for Tin Tim? He's
You're getting 15 to 1.
Why not? Maybe from off the pace. Hopefully they'll all duel each other into defeat. Hull will be tough as well. It's a very, very good field.
I'm going with Hull, trying to make amends for what his sire could not do. Has it really been 15 years since Holy Bull was defeated as the favorite in the 94 Kentucky Derby? Hull with Miggy Mena. Mena looking for back-to-back wins. A field of 8. Post time for the Lanes End featured race of the week, the Derby Trial Stakes, live on Horse Racing Television.
Kensey moves forward now in the gate. And they're off in the 85th running of the Derby Trial Stakes. They race along the chute and towards the main track, and the early speed is with Checklist. Checklist leads the way, leads now by about a length. To the inside it is Silver City, who is racing in second. Santana 6 in third. Hull on his outside in fourth. Kensey in fifth. A contentious group as they make the way down the back straight. 5 of them vying for early supremacy. A break of a length and a half back to Gato Go Win, who is racing in 6. A further break then of 5 lengths back to Tin Tim Por Tintin, and the back marker is Rendezvous as they hurtle through the first quarter in 21-3 and about to make the far turn with Silver City now leading the 85th running of the Derby Trial Stakes. Still a contested lead. Checklist is there. Hull is now 3 wide. Gato Go Win is now in 4th. Kensey, the yellow colours, now makes a move racing in 5th. Santana 6 comes under a ride now. Then towards the inside, Rendezvous, and on the outside is Tim Tim Por Tim Tim. They begin to come to the head of the lane. A quarter mile to go. Checklist has just got the lead. Hull breathing down his neck. Hull now goes ahead in front to Checklist in second. Trying to kick back Silver City. Down the wide outside. Here comes Kensey. Now they're inside the final furlong. Hull leads. Kensey in second. Hull wanders under pressure running green. He's still out in front by about 2 lengths. Kensey is back in second. Checklist in third. But now undefeated. 3 out of 3. Hull wins the Derby Trial. Hull wins in second. Kensey. Checklist was third. Rendezvous was fourth.
Hull drops the hammer in the 2009 Derby Trial Stakes, widening in the lane at 3-1 for Dale Romans. He is undefeated and back-to-back wins for Miggy Mena.
Great trip here as a colt who was able to show a lot of speed, but also to settle on the outside, swept the lead into the stretch, and he is going to be pushed out to win very convincingly. Undefeated in 3 starts, Hull for Dale Romans.
He does duck out a little bit. For the time being, it does look like Hull. Congratulations to the Heilbronn Racing Stables and Gary Barber. When we return, prices, reaction following the Derby Trial Stakes. Hull with Miggy Mena. 10 down, 1 left on opening day. Stay tuned.
You at home, we're going to send you back to Churchill Downs. Holy Bull! It's Hull in the winner's circle.
Thanks so much, Aaron and Zoe, and all smiles from Miggy Mena and Hull. You a fan of? Were you ever a hockey fan, Jeff? And I don't know if that was the influence of the name, but I'm just asking.
Bobby Hull.
Bobby Hull, Brett Hull.
I have no idea if this is anything to do with that. I know that Mr. Heiligbro, who is the owner of this horse, part owner, and bought this horse originally as a 2-year-old in training sale for $82,000. He used to play football under Darrell Royal at the University of Texas. That's his background. So I'm not sure they play much Texas down in Austin, Texas. They play football. I know that. Hull ran like a running back today as he blitzes this field, beating Ken Sai and Checklist. Undefeated now in 3 starts. A winner at Fairgrounds, a winner at Turfway, now a winner at Churchill Downs.
Scott Hazelton with Big D. Dale Romans talking about Hull following his victory in the Derby Trial.
Hey, you got one. You got to ride the next race.
Hull remains perfect as he steps up to graded company for the first time and gets the win in the Derby Trial. Dale, you opted to scratch out of the Lexington. Obviously, it worked out, but why did you decide to wait on this race?
We were coming back quick on 16 days off the Turfway race, and everything had to be perfect. We had to have the right post position, right pace scenarios to go ahead and run him, and we drew the 12 hole. It was an easy decision.
He showed a different dimension today, really settling. Is that something that you were expecting this afternoon?
We thought he would. The first 2 races, I just think he was so much faster than everybody else. That's why he went to the lead. He'll do whatever you want him. He's nice and relaxed, and I was real pleased the way he set off the 2 horses today.
Last year we saw this race as a springboard towards the Preakness. Is that on the radar with Hull?
Very possible. I'll talk to Bill and to Barry here after the race in a couple of days, and we'll figure out what to do with him.
Distance, any question with him, you think?
I don't think so. I think he'll do whatever, because he will relax. He'll do whatever we want to do.
Well, congratulations on whatever you decide to do.
Thank you.
Dale Romans, winning trainer with Hull, taking the feature on opening day, Lafitte.
All right, Scott, and along with Heilig brought Gary Barber. Congratulations to Team Valor International as well. Hull was an awfully impressive performance in today's Derby Trial.
Very impressive, and we'll see if he can stretch out now. Holy Bull could carry his speed in middle distance, I think.
Not Derby Day in 94, he couldn't.
No, he
Not
couldn't.
Derby Day in 94.
He didn't break that day, though, did he?
No, he got left. But they kind of said, and you'll hear some of this. By the way, you're not done yet either, Jeff. You're stretching out 11 deep today. You hear this from time to time about certain horses. They said when Harlan's Holiday first got here, he looked $1 million.
Right.
He was here for 2 weeks. By the second week, he did not look quite as good.
Right.
A Holy Bull is another example of a favorite who just did not look that good training up to the Kentucky Derby. That's why you have to pay such close attention, shameless plugs, to the works here on Pursuit of the Crown every morning leading up to the 135th Kentucky Derby. It doesn't get much better than opening day here at Churchill Downs. Well, then, of course, you have the first Saturday in May, a week from today, with the 135th Kentucky Derby. And one aspect of racing we've seen today we want to discuss, and perhaps a reason for why some of the works in the morning have been a little slow. This is not the usual opening day or Derby day, real fast track we're accustomed to. Kind of a slow holding track today, Jeff.
Very much a sluggish type of track. We've seen horses, decent horses, run 3/4 and 12 and change and win, which means everybody else is struggling. This race going 7.5, the Derby Trial, some very fast horses in there. They kind of crawled the last furlong or so, but that's not a condemnation of the winner or anybody else in the field. It just tells you how slow that track is.
No, a quality field we just saw.
Right. So I could see where some of these horses not grabbing it, and I can also understand why some of these morning workouts we've watched from Derby prospects, Derby horses that will be running next week, they haven't been all that fast. It's all a matter of how fast the track is. And today, opening day, a little sluggish.
More works tomorrow morning, Pursuit of the Crown. That is going to wrap things up for us here on Opening day from Churchill Downs, 1 week out from Derby 135. We'll be right back at it again tomorrow. Pursuit of the Crown, 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific. And don't forget the Derby draw on Wednesday. Pre-game, post-game show for both the Oaks and Derby. As we send you back to Los Angeles for Gary Stevens, Scott Hazelton, Carolyn Connolly, Jeff Siegel, I'm Lafitte Pinkai saying so long from Louisville as you take one final look at Hull, the Derby Trial winner. Prime time performance in today's feature. Aaron and Zoe, take it away.